The first of the High Court shock decision that led to the release of over 80 people. We don't know who they are, where they are, or the full extent of their crimes, but we do know they're serious, violent and often sexual in nature. Joining me now to discuss this, Shadow Immigration Minister Dan Tehan. Dan, thank you for your time. The opposition leader, your boss, former Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton, said today the PM must take urgent action. He's committed your party to supporting Labor if it was to introduce emergency legislation to close this loophole. If Labor reacted now, why the Parliament was sitting, you've got 4 or 5 days and into next week, this issue could be fixed, couldn't it?
Absolutely. It could be fixed first thing tomorrow morning. Yet the government doesn't seem to want to act. We asked Minister Giles today in question time, when the government started preparing for the decision, and his immediate answer was straight after the decision itself. And then he started backtracking, saying, of course, we had thought about it before. But I mean, the government has just been completely asleep at the wheel. And we had Minister Giles admit today there's 3 murderers amongst those who have been released. He said he'll get us the details on the child sex offenders, on the rapists. Hopefully we'll get all that tomorrow, but we're still not getting the detail on what conditions they're being held under, what happens if they breach those conditions. We don't know whether the government can actually act if they breach their visa conditions because they're not forthcoming on that. We did learn in question time today, though, that they're all getting taxpayer subsidised accommodation and welfare payments, and we think that those welfare payments
I'll get to that in a moment, Dan.
$250 a week.
I'll pull those out in a moment because I've got quite a comprehensive list there about the money that's coming their way. But, I mean, let's just go back to that point where the minister looks like this decision's landed down from the High Court last week that's caught him unawares. This was foreseeable and they've had 18 months to be ready for this.
Absolutely. And we've had detainees themselves saying they knew this decision was coming. So one of the detainees who was dropped into a motel in suburban Perth over the weekend when they were interviewed by a journalist from the Western Australian newspaper said, yeah, we knew this decision was coming. So it seems like the detainees knew this decision was coming, but Andrew Giles didn't know it was coming. It just beggars belief, the incompetence that we're seeing over this issue. Labor always makes a mess of immigration, and we're seeing it before our eyes again.
Yeah, I argue their heart's not in it. I wonder how hard they fought this in the High Court. And they don't seem like they're prepared to try and remediate this issue now. And just to go to that welfare payment, they call it a status resolution support services payment, and for people at home it's about 90% of New Start, so of the dole. They've got financial hardship aid of almost $4,000, loans of $800 per person, a package of household goods worth almost $10,000, $300 towards a removalist, $3,000 if they want to learn English. I mean, seriously, Dan, you're in a country seat. You've got pensioners down there, I know, in your way that can't keep the lights on, and you've got these convicted criminals that their own home countries are refusing to take back here on taxpayer largesse. How do you tell Australians this is fair?
And we asked Minister Giles this in question time. What financial assistance were these people getting? And of course, we didn't get a straight answer. And the government should be transparent about these things. Where are these people? Where's the full list of the crimes that they've committed? What are they doing to keep the community safe? We don't know what happens if they breach their visa conditions. The government won't be forthcoming with what happens if they breach their visa conditions. Will they lock them up again or won't they? None of this, and they won't detail the list of welfare payments. We know that figure regarding New Start, the proportion of New Start, so that's why we know it's roughly $250 a week. But all those other things, including potentially getting airfares if they want to move interstate, are all documented. But we don't know whether the government's giving them these or not.